So,
Yeah,
Mike, what I want to know,
Oh my gosh, awesome.
did they come by your truck at night
No.
or in the morning, and did they knock on the window and say, housekeeping?
Yeah,
Housekeeping?
no chance of that. There's no chance I'm hooking up with a cleaning lady that looks like Tony Grant. No way.
The Tommy Boy reference, okay? Welcome back, folks, to another episode, and actually a little offshoot, a little continuation of the legends of musky fishing, the newer guys. So we're going to add to that. Robbie, what you got there?
The 25 to 30-year-old plus guiding, career, not the 50-year-old, pretty much. I think that's the big difference. But 20 to 30 years of doing this,
experience.
That's pretty insane. that takes a lot of hard work.
Definitely a wealth of knowledge. We're so excited to have Mr. Mike Hulbert, none other than the Volcano from Lake St. Clair, with you today to kind of tell his story. Before we jump into that, just a couple of quick public service announcements. We wanted to get out the fact that there is a Muskie show coming up here, and that is the Wausau Muskie Bash, March 19th and 20th, and that's in Rothschild, Wisconsin. And it's the only Muskie show, so
that'll be fun.
Pretty cool, pretty exciting. We'll leave information of that down in the description, of course. And Robbie, I know there was something else I was thinking of. What was it?
Oh, we went.
Yeah.
We tried going fishing this week, and again, getting blanked on big pike. Well, I guess we did have one bite that would have been nice. It was at sunset, and we got a mid-30s halfway up the hole, and decided to pop off the hook after 12 hours of fishing.
12 hours. Let's expand on 12 hours. It was actually 4 days we've been filming on that water and not got a show.
Anything.
So we apologize. We've been trying.
Is that why you don't ice fish, Hulbert?
No, actually, I don't ice fish because I'm a Sally and I'm really afraid of the ice. I would not go on the ice. I don't care if it's 9 feet thick. I'm not going.
Afraid of the ice.
Makes sense to me.
It's a good excuse. I like it.
It's scary, man.
Yeah, so we're going to dive into just the Mike Hulbert story. And I think a lot of you guys, obviously, that follow us know Mike Hulbert as well as a fishing guide on Lake St. Clair. Super excited to have that knowledge aboard here today. But, we kind of want to find out, our first time with Mike here, how this all started and how you chose this crazy life. You were definitely one of the musky gypsies back in the day and found a home on Lake St. Clair. So, I don't know, I guess, why don't we start out, how did you start musky fishing, Mike?
Well, I grew up fishing my whole life. My mom used to take me fishing, me and my brothers on Sundays a lot. And my dad would take us fishing sometimes in the summers. And we wanted to go musky fishing. My dad used to go musky fishing up in northern Wisconsin, up in Vilas, back in the day in the late 60s and early 70s with Tony Rizzo.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And so when we got older, we kind of wanted to get into musky fishing. And so my dad booked a trip up to Rizzo's place, stayed at his resort, his cabins. We went up there for like 4 or 5 days. He told us how hard musky fishing was going to be. Don't be mad if we might only catch 1 or 2 or 0. Yep. And, I was like, 15 or something like that. And so we drove up to Wisconsin, and that was it.
Caught the bug.
I kind of knew that either my dad sucked really bad at musky fishing, or I might have had something because I literally caught my first one in like 20 minutes of trying. And I thought,
well, that makes it easier.
I might only catch 1 for the week. Like, He must suck.
You're that guy.
I'm that guy, yeah.
Yeah.
What year would this have been, Mike?
That was about 1994.
94.
All right.
94-ish, yeah.
And how old are you now, Mike?
Which is kind of weird, right? I don't think 1994 sounds that long ago, but when you think about it, it is.
Yeah.
7 years ago. So
right.
It is a long time ago, but it was cool. I caught it in a rowboat, no net, no pliers.
Yeah. Just a pistol.
Me and my brother Tom. and a rowboat with nothing. But
That's cool.
a Dubco 808 is what I was using.
No
An
way.
808. Wow.
Yes.
Sweet.
What bait?
The bullfisher. I
Uh,
like it.
of course, I caught it on a Rizzo Whiz. I didn't
Yep.
have any baits at the time, so
For sure.
Tony gave us a handful of whizzes, and I asked him if we could use his rowboat. And
Yeah.
me and my brother rowed out about 100 yards offshore and started casting, and
Jeez.
boom, caught one.
That's awesome. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Rizzo Whiz. Classic.
I still got that bait hanging in my basement from back when I was in high
no
school.
kidding. Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Mike,
what's-
how old are you now?
Oh yeah. No, go for
I am
it.
a whopping 42 years old, going on about 14, 15.
Nice.
That-
that makes
that
sense.
sounds quite accurate.
Yeah.
At least you're honest.
One thing I always am is honest, Robbie. I can promise you that.
That's awesome. So, what kind of so in high so like after that first muskie experience, was it kind of always in the back of your mind that's something you wanted to do, or what was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was literally, after that trip, because we caught quite a few with Rizzo. He took us to some action lakes, and we caught quite a few.
Yeah.
I ended up getting mid-upper 40s on like the last day of the trip in the
Sure.
same rowboat with
that's
with the
cool.
oars.
Yep.
It was,
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was cool. And then when I got back, I was already over bass fishing or walleye fishing,
Yeah.
or like I was done with it already. So,
Yep.
you know, a lot of things I never did. I've never been a crappie fisherman or perch. Like I don't think I've ever caught a crappie. I don't think I've ever caught a perch. I don't remember that as a kid.
Right,
I never
right.
caught bluegills and bass,
Yeah.
carp,
Yeah.
but.
Yep.
But I was already over bass fishing, whatever, right after that trip. So literally, me and my brother started fishing for muskies from there on out, right there in high school, and it just blew up into this.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you grew up in Indiana, right?
I grew up in Ohio.
Ohio. Okay.
I lived in Ohio until I graduated college, and then I moved to Indiana.
Gotcha. Okay. So you were fishing those Ohio waters then in high school and whatnot?
Wrong again, Robbie.
Gosh.
Wrong again.
Jeez. Just
So where I lived
guessing.
in Ohio, was over on the west side of the state, which was literally like 3 miles from the Indiana border. So the
Okay.
Indiana lakes were a lot closer to me
Oh,
than
sure.
the Ohio lakes were over by the Cleveland area on the east side of the state. So I could
Gotcha.
drive to like Lake Webster, Tippecanoe, and Barbie Chain
Yeah.
like an hour and 15 minutes compared to 3.5 hours.
How young was that fishery then? Or was that just getting started, or did they always kind
It
of have
wasn't
them?
really young. You know, when I first started fishing there, they were 4-footers.
Yeah.
The occasional 50 would be caught.
Sure.
Indiana started in the 80s a lot with that, but like the Barbie Chain and Tippy started later. But Webster was already going pretty good.
Yep.
It was kind of a perfect storm because when I first started, I mean, Lake Webster was absolutely loaded with like 42 to 48 inchers.
Yeah, just
And
perfect.
You didn't get, I mean, your average day, if you didn't get like 60 to 100 follows and hook into 5, it was
cow.
a slow day.
No kidding.
Yeah,
I
it
remember
was-
you telling me that.
Wow.
But
That's
there were
crazy.
so many fish in there, and they were so dumb, it didn't matter. If you wanted to
Right.
go in 2 foot of water and throw a spinnerbait, you
Yeah,
would get
they were
mad.
there.
If you wanted to go in 50 foot of water and throw rubber, you could do that. If you wanted
Yeah.
to throw soft water in 50 foot, you could do that. You could throw a glide bait, a crankbait. It didn't
Yeah.
matter where you went, you were going to get bit.
Jeez. Wow, that sounds fun.
So it made me look good real early.
Real early, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Then again, it could potentially set you up for disappointment. Is that a fact or no?
That
Did
is
that
a fact.
happen?
Because when those lakes in Indiana did crash, it was kind of like, as you know, Lee, with the crash in Minnesota, it was like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing in the world. To this is the absolute worst. So those lakes were so good, and clients had all the memories of how good it was. So all of a sudden, it was musky fishing again, where you only caught
Right.
1, 2, whatever.
It was real
And then they were
fishing.
like, oh, when we were here in 2003, we caught 7. I'm like,
Yeah.
that was 2003.
Right.
You know? So it set up for disappointment, but as you know, guys, with all stock lakes, there's peaks, there's valleys, it goes up, it goes
Yeah.
down. And, I got to watch it all from the best to the worst of the worst. And now it seems I haven't fished Indiana a lot in the last 5 or 6 years, but it seems like it's kind of back on the upswing with Indiana lakes.
Sure.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, that's cool.
Have you dove into stocking numbers to see if it's, really direct, correlation or?
Well, their stocking numbers in Indiana are just absolutely ridiculous. They got more stocking in those lakes because we only have a handful of lakes to stock in Indiana.
Right.
But I think Webster still gets like 5 or 5.5 fish per acre a year.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Which I've always said, I'm not a biologist, but I claim that I have knowledge because I spend every day on the water that I can.
Right.
I've always said that they're stocking too many.
Sure.
Lake Webster's 700 acres.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's a lot.
And you're putting 4,000 fish in per year in a 7,000 acre lake. Like, I wish the whole lake had 700 muskies in it, not 7,000.
Right. Yeah, that's a lot of competition.
Why does
it seems like they carry good weight.
They're not going to get as healthy. They're not going to get as fat. They're going to eat each other when they're small.
Yep.
There's just too much going on out there.
Yeah, I could see that.
The fish seem to carry good weight, however, generally speaking, from what I recall.
Yeah, back in the day. Now, what the problem is, in the last probably 10 years in Indiana, like, you really start doing something if you get like a 45, 46, 47 inch, where back in, say, like 2005, if I wasn't getting 5 a week over 45, I was thinking it was slow. Where now it's like guys in Indiana, if they get, 5 to 10 a year over 45, they're happy. I used to be, I want at least 5 or 6 a week to be on average.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy how that changes.
So, Mike, just kind of think back to your first year guiding. When was that? What year? And what was that like for you?
That was 21 years ago. So 2000 was my first year that I started guiding. And, it was tough. Honestly, probably one of the toughest parts, it wasn't the fishing. It wasn't catching fish. It wasn't having success. It was the fact of trying to get 40, 50, and 60-year-olds to hire a young punk kid.
Yeah.
They thought that they had been musky fishing for 20 years or whatever. How am I going to have any more knowledge than what they do? Because they're 45 and I'm 21.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was probably one of the toughest battles starting out. And also, I was kind of, as I always am, one of my biggest demons as well, because at 42, I'm calmed down a lot. When I was 21, I was out of control.
Yeah,
so that also, people were like, wow, this guy, he's like literally a wheelbarrow full of meth right out the gate. So that was tough. But I mean, it was tough. And so what I did, and this is, probably advice for any future guys coming up, because there's not really a whole lot of young guys coming up. I'd go and speak at these musky clubs, and if I could get a guy, I would tell him when I would go give a seminar or go talk to him, if you book a day, I'll give you a day.
Really?
Book one.
That's aggressive.
I knew if I could get them in my boat, they would have a great time. They would catch fish. We would laugh. It would be a great trip. And then they would go home and tell their buddies and word of mouth and blah, 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 right? This was way before Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat, whatever. So that was one of my biggest venues of getting clients and doing the, buy one, get one when I was first starting out, because I just needed people in my boat.
In the boat. I mean, that's a great way to do it. Then you're not, fishing alone those days too, when you're trying to figure crap out and stuff.
Right? I mean, when you start a guide service, it's not like, okay, here I am, 21-year-old Mike Hulbert, I'm guiding. It's not like, oh, boom, calendar's full,
sold.
You're ready to go. Like, that's not how it works, right?
No, absolutely not.
Especially without internet.
A lot of tough days and a lot of open slots in your calendar when you're first starting out, which can be a little demoralizing, and maybe you're thinking about, maybe I shouldn't do this, but I knew that's what I wanted to do a long time ago. Before I even started guiding, I set myself up to be in that position to guide.
Sure, gotcha. Was that just a full season in Indiana then, pretty much?
Yeah, when I first started, it was in Indiana. So when I graduated college, I was a school teacher for a brief minute, and so
Yep.
I was guiding after school, and then guiding on the weekends. And
Yep.
then I'd do some summer stuff, and then I'd travel a little bit in the summer when Indiana got too hot, and I'd go back to teach school in the fall. And
Yep.
so yeah, when I first started, it was just strictly Indiana, spring, early summer, and fall.
Yep.
And
How many
then-
guides were out there at that time for muskies?
Hardly any. When I first started, there was really hardly any.
That's nice. Cool.
And it was
Wow.
great, with
Yeah.
Chicago being so close to those lakes, and
For sure.
Indianapolis, it was great. And so when I was teaching there at the end, I mean, I was Monday through Friday, I was at the lake guiding every day, and then guiding
Yep.
Saturday and Sunday, and and teaching full time. So I was, doing about 130 hours a week
Yeah,
of work.
absolutely.
And I'm like,
Well
one of these
familiar.
jobs got to go. Got to go.
Gotcha. That's cool.
I would think one of the other challenges, Mike, was the fact that where you were in the grand scheme of Muskie geographically, I mean, you had a few lakes, and muskie fishing obviously was not that popular in that area when you started.
True.
That would make it hard to get business.
It is a little hard. I mean, I would do some of these early shows in like the Chicago area, which is only like 3 hours from those lakes, and
Yep.
people would be like, "There's muskies in Indiana," and I'd have a table full and pictures
Yep.
everywhere, and
You're
again,
getting
a lot
nice
of
ones,
45
yeah.
to 48 inches,
Right.
and they were like, "No way, there are muskies in Indiana." And I'm like,
For sure.
2.5 hours down the road, buddy, and so just educating people that we
Yep.
had nice muskies in Indiana was a big battle and hurdle that I had at the beginning as well.
Right.
And then it blew up, and then all of a sudden Indiana was on everybody's radar, and
Yep.
I got blamed for ruining the lake because my big mouth brought all the pressure, brought all
Sure.
the guys.
Yep.
It's fine. I've ruined a lot of things in my life. So
Yep.
I can handle if I ruin the lake. That's fine.
Just trying to live. That's all.
Just trying to make a
Just
living,
trying
man.
to, right.
That's it.
Just like everyone else.
Yeah.
That's it.
It is what it is. Yeah. But didn't you spend some time in northern Wisconsin? I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I
about
don't really want to talk about that, but yeah, I did. I spent an entire summer with Tony Grant up in Violence County.
that. Wow.
living
Where'd you
in,
meet
like,
Tony from then?
What's that?
Where'd you meet Tony from?
So I met Tony in high school. Me and my brother Tom hired Tony. So I never went on spring break in high school or college. I always went fishing.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
met
that's cool.
Tony my senior year of high school. Me and my brother Tom went down to fish Kentucky with Tony. On our
Oh, right on. Yeah.
So I've known Tony since I was like 17,
started,
16,
yeah.
17.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I spent like the summer of I think it was 2000 in Vilas County in like
Yeah.
a 700 square foot cabin with Tony Grant, which is probably one of the worst life choices I've ever made in my life.
I can
That's
imagine.
hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
I
funny.
wish Febreze was out in 2000. I really do.
Febreze, wow.
Febreze.
That was one hot camper or hot
Oh,
cabin.
Kevin.
Oh, it was disgusting. But we had a good time. Tony taught me a lot.
Yeah.
We fished a lot. I was doing a little guiding up there, not much, but a little. And I fished a lot just to learn different bodies of water,
Yep.
different. And then that summer, I went to Minnesota on a whim to go fish the wonderful Mill Lacs.
Oh, you got there that early.
And that's when I decided that I am never going back to northern Wisconsin again. After spending 2 or 3 days on the lac, I'm like, well, I'm not going to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, and then that's when I started to fish Minnesota.
Oh, wow.
Simple
Yeah,
choice.
That's a game changer.
It is a game changer.
Jeez. That's wild. So that was 2000 then? 2001?
Yeah, then about 2000, 2001
Gotcha.
is when I started going then up to Minnesota in the summer for about 2.5 months. Each
Gotcha.
summer I'd go up to Minnesota.
Were those fish 50 inches yet or
Yeah,
most
Yeah.
of them? Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
When did you
I
go
mean,
up
there
late?
wasn't a bazillion of them up there. There was a
Yeah.
lot of 4-footers, 49, but there were a lot of, 50s, but it was kind of cool watching. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on Mille Lacs though, because when that whole thing boomed, everybody and their brother was there, and I kind of was like, this ain't my gig. Like, go to Wellswood and be your 38th boat in line. Like, not really my thing. So that's when I went to northern Minnesota. Get away from everybody, and because Vermilion peaked right then too. So everybody was either on Vermilion or Mille Lacs, and I kind of was in my own little world, crushing whales and keeping quiet about it.
Right. That's cool. It's not the worst choice, that's for sure.
It was, which was cool, because once again, it was hard when I went up to northern Minnesota, because when I was advertising that I was in Minnesota and guiding up there, people were like, "Oh, you're on Mille Lacs?" I'd be like, "No." They'd be like, "Oh, you go to Vermilion?" I'm like, "No." And they'd be like, "Well, where are you at?" And I'd be like, "Well, it cost you at that time, whatever, it's like $375 a day or $400 a day." And I'm like, cost you $400 a day to find out. Like, well, we want to go to Vermilion. I'm like, yeah, you and 87 other boats, go have fun. I'll be by myself blasting whales. So it was kind of cool. It was hard, but it was cool because I'm not one to fish in the crowd. I'm not that guy. So I kind of went out and did my own thing up in northern Minnesota, and it was cool. I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, Mike, tell to the folks at home what it was like for you to move your life over to Minnesota during the prime months of the season, and what living was like for you. What I know there's some challenges of being a gypsy muskie guide. So share with us your thoughts and experience.
So, like being a gypsy like I was and traveling around, you don't make enough money really to have a house in Indiana paying a mortgage on, plus you're going to rent someplace up in Minnesota. And there's not enough money to be spread around that way. So
absolutely not.
We live as disgustingly as we possibly can. So, for example, I did live for about 73 days in the back of my truck.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun. I spent 3 months in a cabin that had no water or no toilet, no water, no shower.
Was there an outhouse at least?
I did have an outhouse.
Nice.
I spent some time in a fish house while I was in Minnesota. Sure. That was unique.
Yeah.
I stayed in a camper that was in a like a storage lot of campers, so it wasn't like I was around people. It was
just a random one.
I was in a storage lot.
Yeah.
Staying in a camper. So I mean, just a lot of tough times.
Yeah.
When you're young and don't have a lot of money to do this, but you got the will, the desire, the drive to make it
happen. Yeah.
So you gotta, like I always said, you gotta take the shit with the sugar, man. You gotta, if you want the good, you gotta be willing to take the bad.
Right.
And I wanted the good. I wanted the good.
You wanted the 55 inches.
Yeah. So I mean, I was gonna do whatever it took to be part of that life and do it, because there was nothing like it back in the day, that Minnesota bite. There was nothing like it.
Never will be, pretty much.
So, even bathing was a challenge. I mean, just you talk about basic human needs.
Well, that year I spent in the back of my truck, which was so awesome. I mean, if you've never lived in the back seat of your truck or in the bed of your truck for 70+ days, I would challenge you to do so.
Yeah.
It's fun.
In the summer.
In the summer.
Wow.
And so there was a truck stop about 3 miles away from where I would pull my boat and truck to sleep at night.
Yeah.
And it was a quarter shower. And you went there and you put like 4 quarters in, and you got water for about 4 minutes. But it took 3 minutes for the water to get hot to begin with. So your first 3 minutes, it's just freezing cold water. You're trying to shower. Yeah. And then water would shut off. You put 4 more quarters in.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Finally it'd get warm, but then you were done. And
that's hilarious.
That was bad. But then halfway through the summer, I met these the cleaning ladies because I was sleeping behind a hotel, and
wow.
I met the cleaning ladies, and
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, is there any chance you can leave this back door open so I can like use the bathroom or do whatever?" They're like, "Yeah," because they knew I was living back there.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Oh my gosh.
so they
that's
left
awesome.
the back door open for me, and they had a shower by the pool area. It was like a Super 8 or something that had a pool inside. So they would leave me a towel in the bathroom by the pool.
Wow.
But I had to get them a carton of smokes like once a week.
That was it. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
Mike,
guess-
what I want to know,
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
did they come by your truck at night
No.
or in the morning, and did they knock on the window and say, housekeeping?
Yeah.
Housekeeping.
No chance of that. There's no chance I'm hooking up with a cleaning lady that looks like Tony Grant. No way.
The Tommy Boy reference, okay?
Yes, I do remember Tommy Boy rep. But no, these cleaning ladies were
that's
not
funny.
what I would call attractive. They
Yeah.
So no.
That's funny. That's
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Probably another big obstacle is trying to find an outlet to plug your boat in.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
There's nothing. I mean, all the challenges of being a gypsy, finding outlets is like minuscule compared to
Sure.
where am I
the
living, where am
the
I
other
showering.
crap. Yeah.
It's 2 in the morning. I gotta poop. Those are problems.
Right. Those are problems.
Folks, the things we did for a 55-inch muskie would blow your mind.
Yeah.
And you know what? I mean, that is true. But I will say this, and Lee, you know, the stuff our clients did because we told them they had to is unbelievable. Like, you're going to get 3 hours of sleep. We're going to go back out at midnight and fish till 5 in the morning. Then we're going to sleep. We crushed our clients. But they got rewarded. They got rewarded. They did what it took. But I can't believe it that they did what we did when we were young and we had the energy to do this. They did it and then had to go back to Chicago or Minneapolis or Madison and go back to their 9-to-5 job when we just totally flipped their sleeping schedule upside down and ruined their life. And then, go back home. I mean, we did a lot to catch them, but our customers did an amazing amount of to catch them, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Being there on the right hours. I mean, that's crazy. Ugh.
Yes. So much of it was selling it to the customer. This can be you. I mean, holding the fish. And that's really all it took. People were, but sometimes they weren't willing to do it. And that was frustrating when you knew the fish were biting.
Absolutely. Yep. All part of the game, man.
When did you get your first cowgirl thing back in the day? Were you able to get one early throwing it, or?
Yeah, I was.
How was that?
I was able to get one early, and
it was 2006 when Luke brought him in the boat with Pete and I. That's the first time I had seen him.
Yeah, they were. I had one that was. I had two. I had a gold one, gold on gold, and then I had one. I forget what they called it, but maybe Christmas tree or something. It was like silver with a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, a little bit of with
something you would
blades.
usually throw.
But it didn't matter. It's just like here, I got two of these. You get one, you get the other. Just throw them. And people are like, "Well, what the hell is this?" They were reeling it in. They're like, "This crushed my wrist. This hurts. This sucks." But it was just boom, 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 boom. It was unbelievable. It was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life as far as how fish react to a bait.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
The coolest.
Jeez.
It didn't matter.
Stupid.
No. You know, we were throwing them. There was no skirts on the things, and we couldn't, we had to wait to get more at times, and it was a challenge, but it didn't matter if there was skirts, there was no paint on the blade. If they both spun, you were catching fish on them.
And what was crazy about it is those fish would not close their mouth, or they would engulf it so hard. They would not close their mouth until it was gone. You didn't get fish that had the hook in the corner of the mouth or beak hook. They were all down the throat, man.
Right.
I mean, they were all hooked.
Fooled completely.
They were all hooked way, way deep. Like, I would say in my first 100 cowgirl fish, probably 70 of them I had to go through the gills and get it out. And, like, they ate it.
Gosh.
It was crazy.
Ugh.
Mike, I don't know about you, but I know one thing we did when we switched to night fishing, not switched to it, but when it would nightfall would come, we would actually switch to barbless double tens.
All right. Well, I never went barbless. But that's a good idea. I took the front hook off of mine a lot.
Wow. Sure.
Because that front hook was causing all sorts of hell in their gill plates and in their rakers. And so I would take the front hook off because the back hook was getting them deep anyway. But that front hook was just causing more problems at night. So I did a lot of night fishing with just the back hook instead of the front and back.
Gosh. Yeah, would never do that now.
Right. Who would ever do that? Oh, let's take a 7-0 off of bait. Let's just make it one hook.
Probably not. Here I'm in the 715 just hoping to see a 40-incher in 2 weeks.
Yeah. It was cool, man. That was really one of the coolest bites ever.
So you got up there
a
in
game changer.
2000, and how long did you stay up there? How many years? And what was your best? Let's go into what was your best season? Whether it was big fish, personal best, I don't know.
2006.
Is that Yearsley or 07?
7.
I'm gonna say up where I was probably like 2009 or probably 2009 or 10 where I was 2009 probably. I think.
Those fish were max level.
It was unbelievable, yeah. It was 2008, 2009. I'm thinking something like that. I mean, it was unbelievable. But I was also very lucky because of, like I said, Vermilion and Mille Lacs taking all the pressure. I literally had the fish to myself.
Right.
Where if I saw a 53-incher, 54-incher, 55-incher, whatever, I knew that there's a 98% chance that I'm the only one that's going to go back on that fish in the next 24 hours. That could not be said in Mille Lacs or Vermilion.
That's a great point.
So it was cool. It was man. I just remember back the day just being so spoiled. And it's like I was actually there was something. What did I see the other day? I don't know where I saw that. Maybe a Facebook memory from something, or I don't know what. But one day, I remember one day up there, I got a 54 and 3/4, a 54, a 52, and a 49. It's like,
how many hours of fishing?
Like,
oh, that's disgusting.
It is disgusting. Like, that shouldn't happen.
No, absolutely not. Holy cow.
We quit taking pictures of 4-footers. Other than if it was a client's fish, that wanted a photo, obviously.
And that's been, I mean, to think about being, in your late 20s and already going, another 4-footer, pop, another 4-footer, pop. Like, you're a spoiled brat. You're in your 20s and you're popping 4-footers like they're 33 inches.
Right. Yeah.
The 4-footer was keeping you from catching that 52, 54-incher.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Absolutely.
That's a great way to look at it. Like, gosh, those fish were incredible. So during that time,
cool. I mean, I'm glad that to be part of it. It was cool to be part of the boom in Indiana. It was cool to be part of the boom up in Minnesota. And then, I was one of the first guys here casting on St.
Boom
Clair.
on St. Clair. Talk about timing, man.
And
That's amazing.
Like, I don't know what I did to the Muskie gods. I mean, one of them loves me. I know that.
Something did.
I kissed one of them right one time.
Well, yeah,
it's been been pretty cool that I've been part of those 3 different booms in 3 different states through my career, and it's to see it all unfold has been pretty awesome.
Ugh, no
Hence
kidding.
the Gypsy Muskie Guide, for good reason. I know obviously Mike, guys like you and myself took a lot of heat for traveling to hot waters and whatnot. As soon as you start talking about people's fun, everybody gets a little weird, and understandably, everybody wants it for themselves. It's understandable. But yeah, that's how can you not go fish for big ones? That's my point.
Well, again, I'm fishing for a living. I gotta go where people want to go. I gotta go where big ones are being caught. I gotta do what it takes to make a living. I have a house, a boat, a truck, space, insurance, whatever. I have to make a living. But we did take a lot of heat for travel, and a lot of it was unnecessary. Like you said, it's because the locals wanted their fish to be caught, and they're stuck at work Monday through Friday, and they can't get out till Saturday, and they were pissed that we're on the water every day, and that we're catching them while they're in the office, or while they're at their kid's baseball game, or they're at what. And you can't be mad at me for the life decisions that I made to decide I'm not going to get married, I'm not going to have kids, I'm going to do what it takes to absolutely be the best guide I can be. You can't get mad at me and throw me under the bus and MF me every second because I made my life choice. We all made our choices ourselves. No, this is America still, even though it's kind of weird America. Nobody's telling us what job we got to have. Nobody's telling us we got to have 3 kids and put them all in traveling baseball. No, I made my choices. I got rewarded by it, but the haters sure showed up when it happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if people actually saw the reality of what you were doing, not just catching fish, but living conditions, most people would never do that in a million years. So, that's very cool. Yeah, talk about some dedication. Let's maybe go into maybe one of your favorite customer stories when you're during your time in Minnesota. Anything stick out? Funny ones, big fish, I don't know.
Anything.
Anything.
Highlights.
So
lowlights. Either or.
I mean, there's the guy who ripped the seat out of my boat and pissed everywhere in the floor of my boat. I mean, is that a highlight? Probably not. But am I ever going to forget it?
No.
So it's kind of a highlight, right?
Yeah.
Highlights and lowlights.
He was leaning on the boat or leaning on the seat or something, and he
was humongous. He was literally like a 400-pounder.
Sure.
He was leaning on it, and it ripped the seat completely out of the floor. And then when he had to pee, he would pull his pants down, and he would hold a bucket under his junk, try to pee in it, and he missed the bucket. He literally put like a quart of piss in the bottom of my boat.
Gosh.
That wasn't good.
That wasn't good. Was it windy or what?
No, it
was just.
No, I'll tell you this. This is the cool story. Because it kind of ties into our cowgirl talk.
Okay.
With one of my favorite baits I love to throw, and we all love to throw. And this is definitely not a plug by any means. It's just a cool story. During the cowgirl craze.
Yep.
That's when the Medusa, after a few years, came out. When Jason Summers owned it in Minnesota. And I would always have my customers throwing cowgirls, and I was messing around with rubber at night when the Medusa very first came out. And I ended up getting on a really good Medusa bite after dark.
Cool.
And it was better than the cowgirl bite. Okay? So I get these guys from Chicago, they come up, and it's getting dark, and I'm like, I want one of you guys to put on this white Medusa. It was full moon, July.
Yep.
I'm like, somebody needs to put on a white Medusa. And they're like, no, cowgirl, man. Minnesota Muskies, cowgirls, that's dark. I'm like, somebody needs to put on this white Medusa.
Or I will.
I promise you it's going to get bit.
Yep.
They wouldn't do it. And I told them, I said, if you're not going to,
that's me. Yeah.
I got a 55 and a quarter and 54 and 3/4 on back-to-back casts on a white Medusa.
Holy
About
crap.
15 minutes after I told him to put it on.
Just straight cranking, or how are you working
Oh,
it back?
just barely popping it through the weeds. Hitting the cabbage, getting a little pop off. Just,
Wow. What size? What size
Yeah.
were you throwing, Medusa wise?
Regular?
yeah, that was but then they were like, oh, we'll take a white Medusa. Well,
Yeah.
we want a white Medusa. I'm like, yeah, it is.
I'm sure we'll get another one.
Yeah, we'll get another 55 inch, no problem. Give me 3 cats.
Yep, right.
Folks, always trust your guide.
Always. But I mean, there's so many cool stories of
Wow,
of
that's a cool
fishing
one.
up there. From people catching their first one. I remember a guy came up fishing with me in Minnesota. He wanted to go to Canada. I got to go to Canada to catch a muskie. Catch a big one. I want to go to Canada to catch a big one. I'm like,
Yep.
I'm in Minnesota and catch a big one.
Right.
I got to go to Canada. I got to go to Lake of the Woods. Got to go to Eagle Lake. I'm like, yeah, there's big ones there, but you don't got to travel there. I'm catching whales in Minnesota.
Right.
He's like, and I had to sell him on it. This was at a sports show. I had to sell him on it. Finally, he's like, fine, I'll come up for 3 days.
Wow.
Get him at the ramp. We go out. I give him a top water. Third cast in the morning, 53 and a half. I'm like,
See? Was that during the
Canada
my
what,
gosh.
bro? Canada what?
That's
No
amazing.
doubt, exactly.
Third cast. Like, you
Oh,
can't get, I mean,
God.
that's straight storybook textbook. Like,
Yeah. How can
I
you
told
even
him, I
you
told
can't
him to
make that
come
crap
up.
up.
You know, I put my money where my mouth was. I
Yeah.
showed him a good time, got him a big one on his third cast.
Was it during primetime hours on the top
Yeah, I mean, it
water?
was like, 5:30 in the morning in July.
Wow,
Sure.
an early morning big one.
Mhm.
Jeez, that's cool.
Yeah, back when I
That'll
used to
get
be
your
able to wake
attention.
up in the morning.
Yeah. Gosh. Wow, that's pretty wild.
But then there's, like, it's cool that I'm talking with Lee because
Yeah, you guys experienced a lot
I got
of
my
it.
57 and my biggest is 57 and a quarter.
Yeah. Yep.
The day I caught it, I had these guys that I fished with before. They both caught big fish with me, and they had a trip the next day, a walleye trip. And so they told me that they weren't going to do the late night thing and whatever because they wanted to get back to their cabin, get dinner, rest.
Yep.
They had a walleye trip in the morning, whatever. And they had fished for me for like 3 days, so they were kind of tired anyway.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ready to be done. The fish were moving. I wasn't ready to be done. We had some wind. We had some clouds. And so I
Yep.
called my roommate at the time. And I'm like, hey, my guys are done at like 4 o'clock. Meet me
Yeah.
at the ramp. I'm going back out. And so my roommate met me. And literally my clients got their car, went out. I picked up my roommate. I went right back to the spot we had just left.
Yep.
And we dumped about a 54 incher. Hit a top water. Got off. I'm
Jeez.
like, oh,
Daytime top water too.
Oh, like,
Ugh.
literally a few minutes later, I'm reeling in my bucktail.
Yeah.
Got one. Oh, God, it's big, man. It is 57 and a quarter. I just got my clients off 20 minutes ago.
Wow.
Like,
They probably love that text message.
well, I called him. I go, Cha-Cha. His name's Chuck. I call him Cha-Cha. Because he can't stand on the boat. He's always looks like he's
Cha-Cha.
I call him Cha-Cha. And I'm like, Cha-Cha. He wasn't even back to his cabin yet. I'm like, dude, you left too early. I just got a 57 and a
Oh,
quarter.
my
He's like,
gosh.
no, you didn't. I'm
Yeah.
like, I promise you.
Yep.
But I tell you what's cool that, I'm talking to Lee here. Because Lee got his 57 on the exact same spot.
Wow.
We compared icons. I said, here's where I caught mine. Where did
Yep.
you catch yours? And his icon, I don't remember what it was, but it was like 112 feet away from where I caught mine.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
But it was not
That's
the same
true.
fish.
Yeah.
It was not the same fish.
That's a good spot.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
that's a
Kind
good
of.
point.
Gosh, that's cool.
That is cool.
They are where they are.
And those weren't the only 57-inch class fish in that water either. I mean, I know, Robbie, you raised a giant with me out there as well, where I caught my personal longest, a 56.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, maybe
Insane.
even the same fish, hard to say on that note, but yeah, just some amazingly giant fish.
So cool. So cool.
Love it. I miss those fish, man. I miss Minnesota. I do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's nothing like it used to be,
Right. Gosh, it is a bummer.
You were
But,
like still pissing in your diaper when those fish were biting, buddy.
I had no idea what was going on. I was bluegill fishing. Probably. Gosh.
I have a good Mike Hulbert story. I'll keep it short, but basically, Mike and I were guiding on the same water, and one particular evening, we're both out, and it happened. It was a southwest, like 5 to 8 mile an hour wind, steady. So there was a nice little ripple, and I'm like, "Yeah, Mike, we just got another one on a flap tail." He's like, "Flap tail? What? I don't even have a flap tail." So ended up going over and getting Mike a flap tail. Just cruised over, and he's like, "I can't throw this damn thing. I can't. I don't even want to make anyone throw this thing." And I'm, and I call him up. Yeah, we got another, 48 or whatever. We got a 52, all at night on flap tail. And that was actually my first trip bringing a flap tail to Minnesota, and it was lights out. It was absolutely lights out. So I don't know. That just was funny.
Spanked. I know. I didn't catch a damn thing that night, and you crushed them.
Yeah.
Again, I should have listened, but I'm too stubborn. I had my bite going. I had it figured out. Lee's over here spanking them. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. That's not me.
Right. That is not. I will not do that. That's funny.
Mike, remember the story when we were guiding on the same lake the same evening? It was getting towards prime time, and our boats were passing side by side, and one boat goes in, one boat goes out. And I remember you saying something to one of my customers. Do you recall that conversation?
No.
Okay, I'll refresh. So you said to my guys, you better be paying attention right in the area where you are, because there's a 53-incher sitting right there. Sure enough, guy wasn't paying attention, goes into 8, pulls the bait out of the water. There was the fish right there.
Right on the spot. That's funny.
So Mike was guiding in my boat that night.
Yeah. Right. You better be ready.
That was crazy.
Gosh.
Tells you what a nice guy I am. I give you the
Big
spot.
teddy
I
bear.
give you the information. What do you want me to do? Go down there and hook it for you? Come on.
Come on.
Oh, dude, that's
cool. Wow.
That was legendary.
You can't make that stuff up. Jeez.
Wow.
Well, we might as well chat about St. Clair then. Are we kind of done with the Minnesota subject? There's so much we could talk about. That's crazy.
We could talk another time too.
Gosh, yeah, no, absolutely.
So Minnesota starts to fade. The catch rates are going down, so on and so forth. St. Clair, casting is a thing now. Let's hear some more about that. How did you make that transition, and so on?
When I first started coming to St. Clair, Minnesota was still pretty good up where we were. It wasn't, it was kind of on the decline, but it was still easily good
doable
water up there. It wasn't super tough. What had happened was in like 2007-ish, I went and fished Green Bay Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to kill myself.
Were you trolling? What were you doing?
Because I'd never seen that many boats in my life.
Yeah.
All trolling an area the size of a football field.
Yep.
But there were whales there.
Right.
And because there were 719 boats there was fish being caught.
Yep.
So I thought to myself, God, if they're in the mouth of this river here at Green Bay, there's got to be at the mouth of the river up on St. Clair.
Sure, during that time, yeah.
During that time frame, yep. And so the next fall, me and my brother Tom came up here.
Mm-hmm.
And let's go try it out. So we started out. I left the boat ramp. I see this big long line of weeds.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay.
This looks good.
I think there might be fish here.
Yeah.
And boom, there they were.
Just flying off.
There they were.
What time of year was that?
That was November.
That was November. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
So the weeds were still good. Wow.
And the weeds were still up and high and green, and
Jeez.
so it was cool when I first started going up here, and the fish were so dumb they had never seen a bait besides a pulling bait in their life.
Gosh.
Um,
Right.
And so anything that was not a crankbait, they just couldn't handle it. It was,
seemed good. Yep.
yeah, it was dead. So we started fishing up here, and St. Clair, obviously, you guys have been here. It's massive, and the rivers are massive. There's 49 bazillion spots in both the St. Clair River and the Detroit River.
Yep.
There's spots out of the lake. Like, it took a long time to start dissecting it, and I decided to kind of set up my shop up here on the north end of the lake and fish the rivers a lot. And I used to make my living in that river, man, and caught so many big ones in there, and I love it.
Yeah.
So I kind of kept it quiet though, because it was so good that I didn't want anybody to know. And so I would tell my customers, like, we're going on a trip. You're coming for like 3 days.
Yep.
I'll let you know where when it gets closer, but we're coming, and you can't tell nobody. And they would come here, and honest to God, I'm not lying. I swear on my mother's life, I swear on her life, that back in the day, we averaged probably 8 a day.
Jeez.
Average.
Wow.
Average.
Yeah. Was that all only fall fishing, or?
Yeah, I was only up here in the fall.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sure.
And we're probably average about 8 a day. I mean, some days we'd get 2, but there were a lot of days we'd get 15.
Right.
So.
Were the fish smaller at that time? What do you think kind of caused that? What was just dumb?
I mean,
Probably just new.
We were catching a lot of decent ones. I mean,
yeah.
It wasn't. I wouldn't say the size has really changed that much since I started coming up here. But it was cool. And my customers that were coming up here, like, they were geeks, right? They had never seen anything like
blue
this.
water like
they
that, leopards.
Catching blue water.
Yeah.
And they were just blown away. And I would be like, don't go back to your musky club.
Don't say
back to
crap.
your buddies. Like, you gotta shut up. You gotta shut up.
Let's keep this as good as we can. Yeah.
Come January, start doing sports shows. People come to my booth and be like, "Hey, how do I get in on that? How do I get in on that secret trip?" And I'd be like,
"You're like a drug dealer."
Like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I have no idea what you're talking about. They're like, "Yeah, I'm good friends with Joe. Joe, show me some pictures, man."
That's funny.
How do I get in? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
So I can only keep it secret. You can only keep a really good thing a secret for so long.
Right.
And I'm not saying I'm the first guy to ever cast on St. Clair. I'm not saying I'm the first one to ever figure it out. I was one of the first.
Yeah.
But I tried to keep it quiet. I didn't want people to know.
Right.
Because everybody up here, the locals, were all trollers at the time.
Right.
So everybody had their boats out of the water when I was out there.
That's wild.
Some of the trollers that
is wild.
Yeah. Some of the trollers that I would see, they were from Ohio, from Pennsylvania, they weren't even local. They were from other states. And they'd be like, "Hulbert, what the hell are you doing up here?" I'd be like, "Trying to figure his cast bite out." And they'd be like, "You get any of that?"
I'm sturgeon fishing.
I'd be like, No. I'm like, we had a follow. But yeah, they're like, "Oh, you got a troll, man. You got a troll." These are guys from Pennsylvania, guys from Ohio, guys from And I'd be like, "No, we didn't catch it. We'd get like 9 that day.
Yeah.
I would say 0. And it was kind of cool, But then once, the word kind of started getting out, you can't keep everything quiet forever because, again, I've got to make a living.
Right.
I've got to tell people. Then, boom, it exploded and,
number one destination for muskie fishing for probably the past 5 years. I mean, for people to come try it out.
Yeah, I mean, for me to stop being a gypsy and to buy a house up here and to guide here full time.
Have a couch.
That says something, it really does. Right. It says something about the fishery, about the sustainability of the fishery, the future of the fishery.
Yeah, it's sustainable.
For me to put roots in a place and stay stable, that's huge. So St. Clair is just an amazing body of water. I love it.
Yeah.
It sucks. Mother Nature can absolutely kick your ass at times out here, but it's the coolest body of water in the world. That's for sure.
Yep, no doubt.
Ugliest, most boring.
Right.
So at times, when you're not seeing the fish, absolutely. Ugh.
Yeah, but it's cool, man.
Man, there's nothing during those windows. It's just like, I mean, I suggest anybody to go out and book one of these guides out there because get with Mike. I mean, like, when those feeding frenzies are happening, there's nothing like it in the muskie world. I mean, it's insane. Anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, gosh.
There's days where I know personally, over 225 fish caught in a day.
Yeah.
Just people that I personally know.
Sure. Yeah.
And it still happens. Like, it keeps happening. Like, it's just amazing.
And it's not, and a lot of, and a lot of those days, there's a lot of small ones being caught.
Yeah.
But
Which is cool.
I'm the first guy to tell you, I love seeing a bunch of small ones in a lake that also has a bunch of big ones.
Yeah.
Because that means I'm going to have an amazing 15 years ahead of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody loves giants and giants and giants, but I love the fact that there's a pile of 35 to 40 inches out here, because that means in 10, 15 years,
I still got business. Yeah, yep. Unlike probably Minnesota, where, how often did you catch one under 40 inches?
It took me, I remember somebody asked me this question. Yeah. It took me like 3 summers in Minnesota to catch one under 40.
It's true.
Wow. Yeah, that's
a problem. Like my third season my third summer, I got like a 38.5 incher. And I'm like,
what is this?
It was born yesterday. Like, they come out of the womb at 37. Like, yeah. Because I've never even seen a 37 incher before.
Gosh, that's funny.
Right? But I appreciate the fact that there's a bunch of little ones in here. Because,
no doubt.
But Lake St. Clair's been great for a long time. Just now it got a bunch of notoriety because of people like myself or you guys, TV shows or media shows out here, other guys doing shows and writing articles and right. I mean, things are a lot easier to publicize now than they were 20 years ago. Oof. We have all sorts of avenues to do so. But Lake St. Clair's been awesome for a long time.
Right.
A long time.
Yeah.
A natural fishery, and that's really the most unique part about it. It's truly the most unique, where it reproduces that many fish naturally is incredible.
Well, if you look, I mean, you guys have been here, right? So if you look at the lake, I mean, 90% of it is spawning ground. That's the one thing that's different about Lake St. Clair fish with spawning versus like Minnesota fish or Wisconsin fish. Or all of our fish don't go up into like 1, 2, 3 foot of water to spawn.
They can
a lot of our fish will spawn in 10 foot of water because it's sand, it's got that charweed, it's got some gravel. So they can spawn in 2 foot, 10 foot, 12 foot. The whole lake is nothing but spawning ground.
Yeah.
So, like, it's right. The bass fishing is amazing. The musky fishing, the perch fishing, the walleye fishing, the sturgeon fishing.
Right.
It's literally a breeding ground of amazing. It's the best multi-species lake in the Midwest by far.
Yep.
It's really kind of similar to Lake Okeechobee, in the South for bass, because it's just everywhere is good habitat for them to live, to feed, spawn, everything.
And in fact, we have so much bait there's so much bait out here too that nothing's starving.
Yeah.
Even though we got 80 bazillion muskies in here, they're not starving. We get some fat ones. I mean, we get some big ones. So
I know people complain about the how skinny they are, but gosh, some of those things are tanks,
Yeah,
that's life. That's how things are. Not every 53 incher is going to be a 40 pounder.
Right.
That's just life.
Yep. I mean, those things, gosh, I mean, they're built for speed. They're supposed to be built for speed. That's what's cool about them.
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
The fish have definitely gained weight post VHS, I would say. However, would you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah, they've gotten heavier the last 10 years than they have the previous 10, for sure.
Yep.
What's
biggest fish out of St. Clair for you then in the boat?
My biggest fish in the boat is a 56 3/4.
You'll have to email me that picture because I love that photo. That
is
an awesome photo of a giant.
Yeah, and
want to say the story on that one?
It's kind of still old school out here, There's a saying here for the locals: if you didn't weigh it, don't say it. And I don't run my fish into the weighmaster, get it weighed.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But
no.
The fish that my customer caught was an absolute whale. It was 56 3/4 by 26 3/4.
Yep.
You do the
math. It was a freak. was
and
a
puts it
freak.
at 50 pounds. And
Yeah.
the guy
Was
caught
it?
it on
Yeah.
a figure 8. He didn't even see it.
No kidding. Oh my gosh.
How that's possible, I don't know, but it happens.
He caught it. Oh, so my 57 and a quarter came that year on that bucktail. He was throwing that same bucktail on St. Clair in October 1st.
October. That was an October bucktail fish?
Yeah, October
Holy
bucktail
cow.
fish.
Yeah.
And he's bringing his bucktail in, and I see this thing that literally is disgusting.
Yeah.
Coming in. And you know the blue waters of St. Clair, like you see them.
Yeah.
And I can tell though by his mannerisms and by his how he's doing, he's
not seeing it. Yeah.
And he's bringing his bucktail in, and I go, wow, whale, figure 8. And he goes, oh, there's one down there, and he goes, makes the turn, and there it is. Woo!
Bam.
Smokes it, head shake. I throw it in the net. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's just like,
that is a freaking tank.
Like, what happened? I'm like, magic happened.
Yeah.
You know what? But to look back at it, because that guy, that was like his 3rd muskie ever that he caught.
Yep.
Wow.
If he would have saw it, he probably would have
screwed up.
He probably would have screwed it up.
Yep.
Because he would have been like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that he didn't see it.
Yep.
And it just let it
It
happen.
all worked out.
But like,
Jeez.
I put it in the net, and it was hooked, and I just grabbed the pliers, I shook the bucktail out of her mouth, and I instantly got on the phone.
Yeah.
So I see how long she is, I see how big around she is,
Yeah, this
and
is
I'm
a
already
freak.
calling my buddies going, dude, biggest fish I've ever seen out here. And they're like, well, how big? I'm like, I don't know, I haven't even measured it yet. Like, I was so juiced.
Yeah.
And this dude's like, oh, wow, must be a pretty big one, huh? I'm like, oh,
yeah, I'm pretty jacked right now.
yeah, freako.
Yeah.
It was cool, man, and you know, it's so proud of that fish because it's so big.
To this day, is that still one of the biggest you've seen in the water, like follow wise, or have you seen some bigger ones?
I've seen fish of that caliber.
Sure. Okay. Hard to say.
Probably
Yeah.
not as that big and fat though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I've seen some of that length, but also with that girth, no.
Yeah. What a freak.
But you know, I mean, Jason Quintano got the 57 and a
Right.
quarter out here, whatever it was, 3 years ago. So.
You wonder if those are fish that stay in the lake their whole lives, or are they coming from elsewhere? You know, you always wonder on that body of water.
You know, what I love is, you know, some of the biggest fish ever caught on St. Clair.
Yep.
Were caught cast. Of all the bazillions of muskies out here caught trolling,
yeah.
2 of probably the top 5 muskies ever caught out here were caught casting out of the millions of muskies caught out here.
Yep, no doubt.
That's it.
It tells you something.
That's pretty
casting,
awesome.
baby.
That is cool. Never really thought about that. That's that's awesome.
Well, here's what I think. Here's my theory on that.
Yeah.
Those big ones, they're dumb and lazy.
Right.
They don't.
They're not gonna follow a bait at 5 miles an hour.
They don't want to go 4.5 miles an hour chasing that bait that's darting and dodging. You know, these baits are slow and they can just come up on them and just
bam.
You know?
Yep.
That's why I think a lot of the bigger ones are caught. And if you look over the last, you know, let's say 7-8 years of when the casting boom has really, really gotten big out here.
Yeah.
A lot of us casters all have a lot bigger fish than the trollers.
Sure. Yeah.
And that pisses them off.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Well, right.
Yeah, interesting fun fact
Very
for those
cool.
of you that don't know, Mike does not troll at all, period.
No.
Never have I ever.
Never have I ever. That is trolling. That is, I mean, I have trolled. I've been in people's boats where I've trolled.
Sure.
Yeah.
I sat there with like a case of beer and a pizza and just
Like,
go,
all right.
I won't even
I'm a
clean
scatterbrain.
weeds. I'm not cleaning weeds. I'm not clearing rods. I'm just here for entertainment
Yep.
and extra rods.
Right.
But yeah, I don't troll. I assume at some point in my life I'm going to have to because my arm's going to fall off.
Yep.
But no, I'm 100% caster. That's just the only way to catch them, in my opinion. Nothing against trolling. It works. It's great. It's effective.
Yep.
I am just a caster through and through, and that's
way more fun.
Yeah.
No doubt. Wow. Well, I mean, I think we're at our point. That was fun. I don't know what else we could talk about. We did hit.
How long are we into this, Robbie?
We're an hour 10 minutes, so
Oh, wow.
we're that's plenty. And there's still more to talk about. Gosh, we'll have to do this again. It would be cool to do a St. Clair dish, talking tactics and whatnot.
Yeah, that would be really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would love to hear some of what has made you so successful out there. And obviously the casting thing approach has been one of those things for sure.
Super cool. Well, guys, if you want to get on St. Clair and are looking for a guide, Hulbert, you got some open days still?
Yes, I do. As always, wonderful coronavirus has a lot of open dates for a lot of us still. So, yeah, you can hit me up on Facebook, my website, which is just my name, MikeHulbert.com. Call me, 419-553-6570. Love to get you on the boat. Love to put you on a big one for sure.
Yeah, he's no, wow, I can't even think of that phrase.
No joke.
No joke. There you go. Perfect. Are you doing any spring muskie? I guess we didn't even ask you. Are you doing anything this year, spring muskie fishing?
So when my new boat comes in, it's going to kind of be Mr. Dum Dum here. I'm going to do a little stuff in Indiana, go back there, catch some fish. I'm going to do a little walleye in smallmouth here.
You got openings?
Back and forth.
You're going to have openings this spring, though, to get out?
Yeah, I'll be out somewhere this spring. Yep.
Okay. Guiding? Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, guys, go do that if you guys got the muskie bug. Hulbert knows those waters, too, so that would be a fun thing to do as well. But, yeah, appreciate the time, Mike. This was fun.
Absolutely, man. I hope to do it again, man.
Yep. Guys, please check out this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Podbean. Hit the subscribe button. Any other words, Lee? Did we forget anything?
Yeah, I don't know. Just if you're watching this on YouTube format, make sure to go below and ask some more stuff people you'd like us to talk to, subject matter, what have you, questions. If you have any questions for Mike, I'm sure you can feel free to go down in comments below, and I'm sure we can find a way to get Mike to go on there and answer some questions for you.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That would be awesome. Hey, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.